Hello, my name's Oriana Bretschker. I'm the CEO and founder at Aquacycl, and welcome to Wastewater Wednesdays. So today we're going to talk about how do you set your KPIs so that you can reduce cost, meet compliance, and ultimately simplify your wastewater management. Many clients, especially industrial clients, have the impression that they are required to hit residential discharge quality whenever sending to a collection system. What that means is that your threshold of concentrations of biological oxygen demand or total suspended solid has to be right around 250 to 350 milligrams per liter. Well, yes, that is the residential cutoff. And of course, your utility would love it if you can get there. However, if your production facility is generating wastewater that's actually closer to 100,000 parts per million or even 50,000 parts per million on biological oxygen demand, that's a really difficult delta to make up. And in fact, in order to maintain compliance, it doesn't mean you have to get to 350 in most cases. Most of the time, you're able to talk to your utility, talk through your industrial process, look at your permits, and then really understand, okay, how is the utility billing you? Most often, that's going to be per pound or per kilogram of biological oxygen demand that goes into the system. Now, that load, that pound per day or kilogram per day, is calculated, right, as the product of the volume you send, so your gallons per day, in addition to the concentration of that feed. What is your ppm or your milligram per liter on BOD? The product of those two things gets you the load. So if you have a really small volume, let's say 10,000 gallons a day or 20,000 gallons a day of a very high concentration, 100,000 parts per million, in fact, you're still going to be below your threshold typically of that loading requirement that defines your ultimate compliance permit. So when you're talking about KPIs and when you want to install a pretreatment system or a treatment system to maintain compliance, but also reduce your city surcharges, you want to take all of these factors into account, which is what Aquacycl does for you. So as you're analyzing, what do you need to do? How do I do it? What's it going to cost me? What we will do is come in, we take a sample of your effluent, we understand variations of your production, we correlate that to your flows, your historical flows. We'll do some measurements on our own. Then we'll calculate for you, okay, what is the load that you're actually sending to the utility? How is that reflected in your bill? And then, okay, do you need to do a 50% reduction, an 85% reduction, or a 100% reduction in that BOD load in order for you to realize A, compliance, and B, a cost reduction? You'll be surprised. Most of the time, it means that you do not have to get to that 300 milligrams per liter threshold. In fact, you really just have to reduce maybe even 30 to 50% of the load you're sending down. And we can help you do that too. We design a system specifically for your application to meet your business goals, meet your compliance requirements, and do it in the smallest physical footprint and at the lowest cost. And we'll operate it for you too. So once you do have an Aquacycl system on site that was designed for your specific application and KPIs, we take on the burden of compliance. So we've already designed the system specifically for what's happening in your production environment, and our scope of work will cover that specific discharge requirement to the city. If ever we are out of that scope of work and that KPI compliance, which hasn't happened yet, we cover the cost for any upgrades that are needed, any maintenance that's required, any hauling off of site that might be needed in that case where we are ensuring you're meeting your KPIs, and so are we.